Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft. I'm back with another layout for Peartree Cutfiles, and I'm using one of the new files from the June release. It's called Pocket Full of Sunshine, and I thought it would be absolutely perfect for this photo I've got of my little boy, which I took in the woods last week. I just love this photo. He's got such a cute little face. And I want to pair it with the Maggie Holmes Garden Party collection. I bought this collection and I think I've only made one layout with it so far, maybe two. I don't know why, I'm just struggling to make it work with any of my photos. But the colour of my little boy's jumper in this photo is kind of like a mustardy yellow. And I thought actually that would work really well with this collection, so I'm going to go for it. I've cut my cut file onto smooth white cardstock and I'm going to back it with one of the floral patterned papers. Now I initially cut it as one big strip and was just going to stick it down like that and then trim around it. And if I'm honest, I was doing this layout so late at night that my brain had stopped working. It was a really hot day and I was tired, but I really wanted to get this layout done whilst I had the idea in my head. So I persevered, and in the end I just decided, rather than make life difficult, just cut each letter out individually and stick them down. So that's what I decided to do in the end. So what you'll see me do is draw around the outside and the inside of each of the letters, and then that kind of gives me like a frame to work with. So as long as I cut anywhere within those two lines, I know that that letter is going to fit on the back of my cut file. So just take some time to do that, and I do the same thing for the words pocket and full. So I put back both of them in the same floral patterned paper. So that's my letters all backed, and I love that paper. It works so well with my photo because a lot of the colours in that paper are also in my photo. And then just off camera I'd taken some time to fussy cut some of the florals from the collection. And I've also pulled some of the chipboard pieces and I've taken the backs off them so they're no longer sticky, so that I could move them around. And I was really struggling with placement of everything. So you'll see I started with my cut file down the bottom left of the page with my photo kind of sat above it to the right. And then when I started placing all the florals down, I wasn't really happy with the clustering and it just wasn't singing to me. So I decided to move the cut file up to the top of the page and have my photo to the bottom left of my cut file, and then have the cluster coming down around the edge and with like some florals cascading down from it. And I was much happier with how that looked. So I'm just having a play with these fussy cut flowers, just kind of turning them around, seeing if I can make them fit. But I can already tell I'm happier with how this is looking. And I'm going to have the pinks and the yellows coming all the way down. So I want to colour in the word sunshine. I've got a shimmers here, it's a creamies, it's called Dandelion. I've got that from Paper Maze, and I'm just going to paint that directly onto my cut file. There's no gesso on this, I've just gone straight in with the paint. And I start doing the word sunshine and then realise that the word of is going to kind of get lost with the top part backed with patterned paper and the bottom word painted. I was a bit worried that you wouldn't notice of. So I just decided to go for it and paint that as well. And I love this paint because it matches my son's jumper in the photo really well. And yellow is not a colour I use often. It's probably the colour I scrap with least. I just don't know why, I just don't like yellow layouts. I struggle with the mixed media, I think. I never like yellow mixed media, so I just avoid yellow. But I've decided to be brave and go with it on this layout. And let's face it, that's not really yellow, that's more dandelion, so I get away with it. I've just set that aside on a piece of A4 cardstock just to dry off. Where I've painted it with no gesso, it's become a little bit flimsy, so I just want that to dry. So whilst that's drying, I'm just going to mat my photo. I've already matted it onto white cardstock, and I'm adding a layer of the same pattern paper that I've used for the cut file just behind, and I'm going to distress the edges of that. And I've pulled out kind of like a cut apart sheet. I think it was either from a cut apart sheet or from the ephemera pack, and it's got this lovely floral frame. It's got a sentiment or phrase in the middle that I'm not fussed about covering up, so I just want to have that kind of peeking out behind my photo, just an added layer and obviously some more florals, because clearly there's not enough florals already on my page. The Cutfile's taking a little while to dry, so I'm just going to get my heat gun to kind of finish that off. I do turn the Cutfile over and dry it front and back, and that's to try and stop it warping too much. Like I said, there's no gesso or anything, and anything with my heat gun warps. So I find that by doing things front and back, and I do the same with mixed media backgrounds as well, I will dry the front and the back of my background, and it just helps to prevent that warping a little bit. And I want my Cutfile raised up on foam to bring in a bit of dimension to the layout. So behind the words "of sunshine," I've just added small square foam pads because they fit nicely behind that word. And then the larger letters that I've backed, I'm just using craft foam. I've just cut it into small sections and I'm just working that around each of the letters. It's just a bit quicker than using all the foam pads because they take a while to peel the backs off. So just take some time to do that, and that will raise the Cutfile up from the background, add a bit of height and dimension to the layout. It'll also cast a bit of a shadow underneath the Cutfile, and I really love the effect that gives. If you're a follower of my Instagram or YouTube, you'll know I love to have loads of texture and dimension, and raising things up on foam is one of the ways I achieve that. So you can already kind of see the shadow there behind it where I've put that down. I wanted to have something behind my Cutfile, but I didn't want to go kind of full on wet mixed media. And I also didn't know which colour to go with. I didn't want it to be too in your face. So I've pulled out a distress ink in Spun Sugar, which is a really pale pink. And I'm just using a blending brush to add that to my background. And I'm just doing it dry. There's no water involved at all. I'm just picking up that ink and blending it in a circular motion on my background. And I'm not going mad, and I'm just going to do it behind the words pocket and full, but it just adds a little bit of colour behind that Cutfile, just a little bit of a shading, a bit more interest, and just something for it to sit on. You can't see it that well on the camera, but I really do love the effect that's got on the finished layout. It's nice and subtle, but it was most definitely needed. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to stick my Cutfile down into place. So now that's all stuck down, I can work on getting everything else stuck down. So I've got this gorgeous pink chipboard floral from the 12x12 chipboard sheet, and I want to get that stuck in place. I've just had to pull some of the foam off of the P because it's going to sit on my that photo and that card that's behind it, and I'm going to have that raised up as well. So just remove that foam, and then I'm going to get this stuck down with double-sided tape, and then that's kind of the larger of the elements stuck in place. Obviously that yellow flower will come in as well now, and that's the large bit stuck in, and then I can just work my way around the layout, adding the smaller stuff in. I always start with the bigger stuff where I can. Obviously it takes up more space, so there's no kind of squeezing that in at the end if I've forgotten, so those bits do need to get down first. And I've stuck the yellow flower down flat, and then these fussy cut florals here from one of the pattern papers, I'm going to raise these up onto foam pads to bring in some more of that dimension. And I kind of want to have these cascading down the page underneath my photo. Obviously they're all pink, so I need to bring in some yellow as well. So I've got those smaller yellow ones I've cut, and also slightly larger yellow chipboard florals that I'm going to kind of nestle in amongst all of these as well. And it just takes me a while to have a bit of a play, turning them around and figuring out what direction I want those to sit. And then I can come in with those chipboard pieces. At the moment I've got quite a bit of pink at the top of that kind of cluster, if you like, and then all the little yellow flowers at the bottom, so I was looking for something to break that yellow up. And in the sticker book from Garden Party there was a couple of small pink flowers, and they were perfect, just what I was looking for, so I've stuck a couple of those on. And then I've got one of those yellow flowers, you'll notice I've got it hanging off the bottom of my layout. I'll turn that over and trim that off in a minute, but I just find it looks a bit more natural with the cascading if something is falling off the bottom of the page, so that's why I've got that one hanging down. I've also stuck one of the large bows on the corner of my photo there on top of the florals, And then there's another kind of like a teal, marine green type colour bow. I've stuck that on top from the chipboard sheet. And then I wanted something over on the right here to try and balance the page out, but boy did I faff with this. I think in the end I turned the camera off and faff for about half an hour because I just could not decide what I was doing. I really wanted the pink, the yellow and the green over in that section, but because the pink floral has got a yellow flower attached to it, it meant that that green leaf wasn't working, it wasn't fitting in the right place. And I just could not decide what I was doing. And I think I went through everything in the collection to see what I had that I could put over there that might work. I'm now trying one of the puffy stickers, that was too big. I flicked through this sticker book probably about 6 times in total. I've pulled off a smaller pink sticker there. I'm going to stick that onto white cardstock because obviously I'm still faffing and I don't want that to get stuck down until I'm sure I'm happy. So I've stuck that onto some white cardstock and I'm just going to cut that out. And then that will act as kind of like a bit of ephemera, so I can now move that around until I'm happy with it. And I think I actually cut the green leaf off of it as well to make it slightly smaller and easier to work with. I've also cut another one of those yellow flowers, just laughing at myself. Back to the sticker book, back to the 12x12 sticker sheet. Still not happy. Oh, I have still got the green leaf on that sticker, but I'm pretty certain it does come off in the end. So you can see there that's just jumped. I've turned my camera off and continued to faff. I've decided to just stick that pink flower down underneath my photo to extend that cluster, and now it's stuck, so it stopped me faffing with the right hand side of the page. Again with the sticker book, just trying to see if there are any small elements I can bring in. I've got a little kind of like a banner sticker here. I'm just gonna again stick that to white cardstock. These stickers are they're almost like translucent, they're not quite see-through, but this was going to get lost on my photo, so I've just added the white cardstock behind it. It just makes that colour a bit more solid so that it stands out from my photo. And then I've got this torn strip of floral paper, and I just thought, oh, I'll just try it out over there, see what it looks like, and it actually fit really well behind, sort of around the E of that cut file. So before I started faffing anymore, I just made the decision to just stick it down. It was a case of, if I don't stick this now, I'm just going to keep faffing and bringing it on and off the page again. So I've got that stuck down, and I really do like how that looks, and it's kind of balanced the page out a bit and brought some colour over to the right hand side. But I'm still looking for something else to stick over there. Had a look at one of the cut apart sheets to see if there was anything. I'm back with the sticker book and things again, still trying to bring in a floral over on this side. I do get there in the end, I promise. I'm taking a break from faffing and adding in just a few splatters of that Creamies Dandelion, and again that Distress ink in Spun Sugar, just at the top and bottom of those florals that I've fussy cut. Just trying to do anything I can, really, procrastinating so that I don't have to figure out what's going to go on with the right hand side of my layout. Oh, so now I'm coming back to it. I've stuck a yellow floral down there, I've raised it up on a foam pad, and then I've cut the leaf off of that pink flower because it was bugging me, it was in the wrong place. And again, I've raised that up on foam pad and got that stuck down. So I finally figured out what to do with that corner. It took me a while, but I got there in the end. And you can kind of see there the subtle pink ink there sitting behind my cut file. It really does just elevate that page, I think. I'm so glad I did that because it really did make a difference. So thank you very, very much for joining me today. We got there in the end, sorry, quite a bit of faffing today, but I'm really happy with how this layout turned out. I will leave a link in the description box to the cut file itself and also to the Peartree Cutfiles Facebook group. If you're not already a member, do head over and join because there's loads of inspiration in the group. We get freebies, we have our monthly crop, and you also get sneak peeks of the new Peartree Pieces and things. And that reminds me, off camera I also decided to add some Peartree Pieces to this layout. So you'll see in these close-ups here, I think I added 4 of the pink felt hearts. You can see them there in that close-up. So thank you very much again for joining me. I'll be back next time, but until then I'll leave you with some more close-ups.